I worked nonstop. Tomorrow is the last day of the month and the quarter. My quarterly bonus is on the line. Yes, I work in sales, I sell office equipment. In British Columbia, it was a pretty good job. I sold copiers and massage tables for offices. I made a lot of money. But now, not so much. I understand. How about working from home? You must make a ton of money. The truth is, in this market, Amazon and Walmart are squeezing every last drop out of me every day. Hell, I bought everything for my home office there. No, a home office isn't for me. I need a good old-fashioned office to make money. Remember those? Everyone shares a coffee machine, hangs out by the water cooler, chats about nonsense, and burns tons of paper for the copier. Yeah, those places. Did you believe that restaurants and the opera were being driven out of business? COVID really did drive people like me out of business. Anyway, today I really worked hard. I left the house before dawn, drank bad, cheap coffee. My iPhone was ringing and beeping nonstop. I was on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Maps, and Google Earth, all connected via Bluetooth to my car. It was just after 1 p.m., and I had just missed my last call. The moment of truth had arrived, and I was feeling the pressure. I was on my last legs. I really needed to eat. I started shaking. My head was spinning. I felt nauseous, probably from low blood sugar. The liters of cheap coffee that had been my only sustenance for the day weren't helping. And then ahead, salvation, McDonald's. Praise baby Jesus. Onward to gas station hell. Although not as fast as before the pandemic, the line was moving. There were at least 3 people working there today. I placed my order and, luck, they had fries. No Coke, but that's okay. I can drink root beer. As the line slowly moved toward the window, my mouth watered. They had fries. I paid, grabbed my bag of food and drinks, and drove on. Overall, it went pretty quickly. Maybe I'll even make it to my meeting. And they had fries. On days like this, you have to celebrate the little victories. I pulled out of the McDonald's parking lot, crossed 2 lanes, reached the intersection, almost stopped at the red light, turned sharply to the right, pressed the gas pedal, and headed west. I was in the right lane of Sandy Boulevard, a 4-lane road leading to and from the city center. Traffic was heavy but moving fairly quickly. I squeezed the bottle of root beer between my legs, reached into the bag and pulled out a handful of fries. Then I took a Big Mac, unwrapped it without taking it off my knee, and shoved it into my mouth. I was chewing on the second Big Mac when I noticed a car ahead that looked like my wife's car coming toward me. Her bright red Lexus was hard to miss. There aren't many fire engine red Lexuses in the city. I watched as the fire engine red Lexus pulled off the street, drove up, and stopped in the parking lot in front of the motel. When I got closer, I saw my wife get out of the car. As I drove by, she leaned against some guy and kissed him so hard that my ears popped. What the hell is going on? I jerked the wheel, crossed the road, spun around quickly, tires screeching, root beer spilling, French fries flying everywhere, horns blaring, screams crashing, sound of broken plastic car parts. I ignored it all, kept my foot on the gas, skidded a little, and headed back down the street toward the motel. I watched helplessly as they slid, tangled through the motel room door. Oh no, you didn't! You fucking bitch! Damn it! Damn it! I slammed the steering wheel as I pulled into the motel parking lot, screeching to a halt behind her car, blocking her way. I jumped out of the car and, damn it, what do I do? My brain froze as I stood there in the parking lot. Okay, I was furious. You would be too. The disrespect, the audacity, her nerve. I'm stunned, in shock. I'm furious, and my anger is turning to rage. How dare she? God, it hurts. I'm sitting on the still warm hood of her car, staring at the door they just walked through. I'm not in the best condition. I lean to the left and spit out huge chunks of Big Mac and French fries. I have no doubt that I saw what I saw. That kiss was not innocent. I need to think. What am I going to do? Damn it, I have to do something. My brain just isn't working. I need a plan. I have to come up with a plan. I didn't have time to come up with a plan. I don't have a plan. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! And now I'm sitting on the still warm hood of her car, staring at that door. I look around. I notice that the motel is painted white. It's 1 story high. There's a row of parking spaces and a row of doors. A little further away, there seems to be a reception desk. There's a guy inside, talking on the phone and waving his hand. I look back at the door of room 109. It attracts and repels me at the same time. It's to the right of room 108 and to the left of room 110. I wonder who's in those rooms. Are they cheating on their spouses too? Do I know them? Next to the door of room 109 is a panoramic window with curtains drawn. The door of room 109 is the same as all the other doors in the motel. They are all painted a color slightly paler than the hotel's siding. Each door has brass numbers. The frames of all the doors and windows are painted a dark color. It's not coal black, but rather a very faded dark gray. It somehow matched my mood. But not all the doors were the same. This was behind the door of room 109. Do I want to kill her? Yes. But no. Yes, I really do. But I can't. After all, she's the mother of my 2 children. Oh, damn, are they even mine? Oh, my heart. Ah, this pain pierces my heart. My left arm hurts. Sitting is just too painful. I'm lying on the hood of the car. I look up at the blue sky with the yellow sun, decorated with light, fluffy clouds. How can such an ugly day be so beautiful? I stare in awe as a hawk circles high above my head, hunting. When it descends a little lower, I realize it's not a hawk. I strain my eyes to get a better look, and it descends even lower, gliding gracefully across the amazing sky. When it got closer, I realized it was a buzzard looking for prey on the road. That somehow comforted me. A buzzard in a beautiful sky seems much more appropriate. I felt like the prey on the road. I think my iPhone is ringing. It's FaceTime from my daughter. She was at her future in-laws' house. They were getting ready for her wedding. My wife and I were planning to go over for dinner to start planning the seating arrangements. Dad, hi. We were just talking about the father-daughter dance. Dad? Dad? Are you okay? Ah. My daughter could clearly see that I was far from okay. Dad, you're scaring me. Should I call an ambulance? Where are you? Dad! My daughter started screaming. Jason, honey, something's wrong with my father. Dad! Dad! I saw the worried face of my future son-in-law on the iPhone screen. What happened, Dad? My daughter screamed, her face contorted with fear. Honey, I'm sorry. I fell silent, then burst into tears. Crying into the phone, I felt humiliated. That was all that was left of my image as a strong father. I turned my iPhone and held it up in front of me, pointing the camera at the door of room 109. I slid off the hood of the car, and momentum carried me forward. I leaned toward it. One more step, I pushed myself forward. And one more big step. My foot into the door. Smack, dirt, crash. The door flew open, scattering pieces of door and broken door frames across the previously dark room. I burst into the room. Taking 2 steps, I stopped, pulled out my iPhone, whose camera was filming the huge bed where they were having sex. They were lit by sunlight streaming in from behind me, illuminating them and the dirty, cheap motel room. I saw her turn her head, drawn by the explosion of the door and the bright sunlight. Looking over her shoulder, she leaned back on him again, squinting at the sun, her hair bouncing, her eyes getting even bigger. I watched her face change. Lust, then recognition, then lust, then shock, then lust, then fear, then lust. I could hear my daughter screaming, "Mom!" I just kept pointing my iPhone at them, tears, big tears, blurring my vision. I heard my daughter scream, "Mom!" I just kept pointing my iPhone at them, tears, big tears, blurring my vision. I suddenly felt very sick. I threw up, vomit splattered on the floor next to the bed. Now I hear screams coming from my phone. I just kept pointing my iPhone at them as we all watched her eyeballs roll back into her head. She was screaming with explosive delight. Her gaze was drawn to the complete chaos unfolding on my phone screen. Finally, her eyes reached my iPhone, and I saw her frown as she tried to focus and really look at my iPhone screen. Eleanor's blue eyes became huge. She turned very, very pale. Time stood still. The room was quiet, and for the first time in the entire conversation there was silence on the line. It seemed as if everyone was holding their breath. Then Eleanor opened her mouth wide and let out a blood-curdling scream and ran to the bathroom, slamming the door behind her, leaving me alone with him in the cheap motel. Moving forward, trying not to step in my own vomit, I shoved my iPhone in the bastard's face and yelled, "Who the hell are you? Why don't you tell that bitch's daughter who the hell you are?" Saliva flew from my mouth, and my face was contorted with rage. I really wanted to kill him. A lifetime of disability would have suited me just fine. Let that bastard suffer. His lips moved, but he didn't say a word. He smelled of sex and fear. I believed that a raging man weighing about 95 kilograms standing over you, his face contorted with hatred, his fists clenched, poking an iPhone in your face, and on the small screen several clearly upset people were yelling at you, would get your attention. Just saying. "You better run. I'm one step away from kicking your ass until next year," I said in a quiet, threatening tone. Then I hit him. Then I hit him again, then again, harder, and then again, even harder. "Fuck him!" I shouted. I grabbed him by the ear, pulled his bare ass out of the bed, and put him on his knees right in my vomit. His knees were sweaty. Imagine serious abrasions. He was moving his ass across the cheap motel carpet, trying to hold on to his ear, which I was squeezing in a death grip. I dragged him out of the broken door of room 109. I let go of his ear, stepped back, and said, "You bastard!" I put everything I had into that punch. My pointed black sock hit him in the ass. Ha! 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 I don't believe he liked that. He curled up on the concrete sidewalk, holding his ass with both hands, blood oozing through his fingers, crying like a little baby. And that, damn it, is just awful. I went back into the room and headed for the bathroom door where she was hiding. "Stay there! Please! Don't break the door! Please don't break another door! Please! Hey, look! I have the key!" I stopped in front of the bathroom door and turned toward the voice behind me. He was holding the key, and I was holding the iPhone. His badge said NED. It was the guy from the office who had waved at me earlier. I saw NED. I saw complete chaos on my iPhone screen. I knew he could hear the sobbing, the screaming, the cursing, the stunned muttering, and someone's tense giggling coming from my phone. I saw the effect it had on him. He flinched. I reached out, grabbed the key, turned, and headed for the bathroom door, still holding my iPhone in front of me. At that moment, the police burst in, knocked me to the ground, and I was still clutching the phone in my hand and twisted my wrist to see my daughter's face. I was still clutching the phone in my hand and twisted my wrist to see my daughter's face. I whispered, "I love you. I hope you're my daughter." "Stop!" My daughter's screaming face disappeared, and everything around me turned gray. I've been sitting in a locked room for, well, at least... Honestly, I don't know, but it feels like several hours. I'm much calmer than I was this afternoon. I feel completely broken. All I have are my own thoughts. They're not the best company. The room isn't worth writing about to my mom. In front of me is half a wall of one-way mirror. The rest of the room is painted in 50 shades of gray. A lamp with a single bulb hangs above the gray table. I'm sitting on a light gray metal chair with no armrests. I'm fidgeting, unable to find a comfortable position on this chair. I'm almost certain I won't meet my sales target. I didn't finish my French fries. I feel sorry for myself. The scratched, dirty, light gray doorknob turned. The door suddenly opened and two policemen entered, pulled out two more gray chairs, and sat down at the table across from me. The tall, ugly cop spoke. "So, Bob, first of all, we see a couple of things in front of us. Let's deal with the simple ones first. The guy from the motel—" He paused and looked at his notebook. "Ah, Ned. He'll drop the charges if you pay for the damage within 24 hours. I nodded. "Now about your car. It's in the impound lot. I suggest you get it out as soon as possible because they charge by the hour." The taller, uglier cop looked down at his papers again. He looked up and met my gaze. "As for the assault and battery," the cop looked back at his notes, "Mr. Harold Rancid, tell me, did you play football?" The cop's question caught me off guard. "Oh, no," I said. "Well, maybe you should try it. You might have a future in it. They're still operating on him. What you did to Mr. Rancid had to be removed, then reattached and stitched up. Looks like he's going to need a new butt. A new butt. Ha 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 ha! And the doctors are working on that right now." The tall, ugly cop had to stop because he was really laughing. He was laughing so hard that tears were streaming down his face. The nice female cop was also laughing until she cried and was slapping the gray table. After a while, the cops gathered their strength and wiped the tears from their eyes. "Listen, Bob," said the nice police officer. "Just pay for the motel door. It'll be about $375. You're the third husband who's broken the door there this week. As for Mr. Rancid, let's just say you're not the first husband who's kicked his ass, but you're the first husband who beat his ass." She burst out laughing again and started slapping the gray table between us. The ugly cop wiped the tears from his eyes again. Then the ugly cop said, "You don't have a criminal record, so we're letting you go with a warning. We understand that you were under a lot of stress and lost your temper a little. Your daughter has agreed to look after you. Listen, we don't need any more paperwork. Stay out of trouble, or the next time we meet, you'll be staying for a long time. Is that clear?" I just nodded in agreement. It seemed like the right thing to do. "You'll be given a court date when you leave. Find a lawyer and show up in court." About an hour later, I walked out of the police station with a court date and the business card of a pretty policewoman who introduced herself as Detective Sandy Heath. On the back, she wrote her cell phone number. The entire wedding party met me, well, except for my wife. They drove me to the impound lot to pick up my car. We were silent the entire way. Seriously, what can you say in a situation like that? "The weather is nice today." They waited while I paid and picked up my car, then followed me home. It took the police about an hour to release Bob's wife, Eleanor. Although she was very shaken up, she didn't need medical attention, and while cheating on your husband behind his back may not be a very nice thing to do, it's not illegal. So she wasn't facing jail time. It could have been over quickly, but it took the police about 35 minutes to get Eleanor out of the bathroom, and they had to tow Bob's car away. It seemed that Bob's unexpected appearance had scared Eleanor half to death. She was sure that Bob would kill her or make her life hell and then kill her. The anger she saw in his eyes was like she had never seen in anyone before. In that state of mind, Eleanor left the motel and drove straight to the bank. She withdrew all her money. She reached the withdrawal limit on all her cards. Then she headed home. She went through the house with one goal in mind, to take everything of value that would fit in her car. She put her last pair of nice shoes on top of a pile of clothes on the passenger seat and started to drive out of the driveway. It was getting dark. She saw her daughter's car turning onto her street. She quickly drove off in the opposite direction. Bob and the wedding guests arrived, unaware that Eleanor had left. Upon entering the house, Bob, who was already in shock, was even more shaken to see the ransacked house. They called the police. They had obviously been robbed. "I am confused. Nothing makes sense. Who was Eleanor? Where was Eleanor? Why, Eleanor, why? I have no answers. My children are just as confused. My future in-laws don't know what to say. No one knows whether to stay or leave. I don't have any answers for them either." At some point, they apparently decided to leave. I was left alone. The clock is ticking. I am slowly losing myself. My mind cannot focus on anything. My emotions shut down a long time ago. I haven't eaten in days. I don't even feel hungry. Everything I look at hurts me. The things she took with her and the emptiness she left behind hurt me. The things she left behind pierce my heart like daggers. They say she didn't care about things that I was sure were very dear to her. An empty house. Silence. The ominous presence of emptiness permeating everything around me. Everywhere in the house, the absence of life, my life, any life, screamed at me. I finished the last sip of whiskey and threw the bottle aside. I climbed the stairs. At the top, I felt nauseous. I kept going until I crawled under the blanket. Our blanket. The blanket. I listened to the clock in the hallway strike 2. What an ungodly hour. There is only black darkness around me. My eyes are useless. But I can hear every long tick of the clock. I can feel the darkness that my eyes see seeping into me. I lie still. I pull the blanket over my head. God, when will this night end? Tick-tock. 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 My mind is tormenting me. What have I done? Why? God, why? Tick-tock, tick-tock. Oh, how she looked at me when we were young. I can feel the salty tears soaking through the sheets. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The night drags on and Bob is mired in filth, the filth of regret. Lessons he never wanted to learn and knowledge he never wanted to acquire. His shame, his flaws, his dark fears of who he really is. His mind clings to straws, trying to imagine, to hope, to pray for dawn. Alone, Bob must simply survive this long, dark night. Tomorrow is too far away to believe in its reality. But when the sun rises, Bob can only do what he can. Survive whatever tomorrow brings. Meanwhile, far away in a neighboring state racing eastward, Eleanor gripped the steering wheel of her car, the thud of the raised strip on the road bringing her thoughts back to driving. She had been driving like a madwoman since she left home. The miles flew by and she didn't even notice. She was lost in her thoughts, an endless cycle, the best, most passionate sex of her life, her husband's expression, her cries of pleasure, her daughter's cries, her lover's cries, the faces of her future in-laws, the dirty motel room, the exploding door, the screen of that damn iPhone, guilt, shame, and lust. Everything was mixed together in a mess. It would take years of intensive therapy to untangle Eleanor's tangled thoughts. She didn't know where she was going. She was just driving, thinking of nothing. Eleanor's tangled thoughts were interrupted again by the sound of tires hitting the rumble strip. She pulled over to the side of the road again, returned to her lane, and drove on. Her thoughts returned to the whirlwind and fury. Shame. God, such shame. Eleanor felt like she would die of shame. No one should ever find out. Her daughter's screaming face, screaming, "Mom!" Eleanor's jumbled thoughts were interrupted again by the sound of tires hitting the rumble strip. A deer on the side of the road chose that moment to jump, hoping to outrun Eleanor's speeding car. The dull thud was suddenly interrupted by the impact of Eleanor's speeding car and the deer. Splashes. Be careful.